Hello, YouTube. I'm just waiting for my TikTok group to turn up. That's where most of my followers are. Hello. Oh, geez, the gardeners just started up, of course. Just came on here. They got the weed whacker going here. Okay. While we're waiting for people to turn up, I'd love to know where you're from. I'm here in Vancouver, Canada, and it's a beautiful sunny day here today. And I'm drinking probably the worst smoothie I've ever made in my whole life. It is awful. It's just vegetables, a little bit of protein powder, and lots of water. It's just awful. I mean, I like really healthy stuff, but this is a bad one. Yeah, that's a bad one. Oh well. So, where are you from? Good to know that you live close by. Where are you? The real sneaky what's a miggy diggy. Where are you? I'm near Olympic Village, Vancouver. I'm great. Where are you from? Langley. Yeah, I've been out there. They're getting the SkyTrain out that way soon. That'll be really good. The SkyTrain is what we call our subway system. And but yeah, Langley is a suburb quite far out, maybe an hour's drive from downtown. And they're getting the subway out there. That'll make a big difference to Langley, I'm sure. Okay, so where are you from? Just having a bad day today. I don't know what's going on with me. I'm confused. I can't think straight. I'm just really not on the ball today at all. It's bizarre. Yeah, with the SkyTrain. Well, downtown here, we've got one going down Broadway too. So it's a brand new SkyTrain line. And I'm sure expanding. It's a big city. It's already a big city, but it'll be even better soon. So I like progress. So where are you from? How many people? I've only got 41 people so far. I usually wait till I get about 100 before I get going. But if it takes more than a minute or two, I'll just get going. Greenland. Hi, Green. I don't think you've been here before. I don't think anyone from Greenland has been here before. I don't remember anyway. Greenland. Wow. Wonder if I'll ever get there. That's quite cold, isn't it? I don't tend to head towards cold climates. New Zealand. We used to ski in Queenstown. I love New Zealand. San Francisco, been there many times. You have been here. Oh, okay, welcome back. England. Saskatchewan. I think, Lauren, you've been here before, haven't you? My dad was born in Saskatoon. I always tell this, but it just amazed me that he was born back in 1922, and they didn't have indoor plumbing. And in winter, they had to tie a rope around their waist when they went to the outhouse in a snowstorm so that they didn't get lost. Ontario. Hi, Ontario. Okay. Sydney, Australia. That's where my son was born. My daughter was born in Brisbane. So I've got dual citizenship. Missouri. Love Australia. I miss it. Okay, so let's get going. If you go in the link above, it's Bratbusters.linktree. I don't know what it's called. Anyway, it's Bratbusters Linktree. Everything I've got to offer in there everything I've got to offer is in there. So I'm just muddled up today. I don't know what's going on with me. I actually made myself a really heavily laden vegetable smoothie, trying to perk my brain up. I am just out to lunch today. Not for any good reason. I don't know what's going on with me lately. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so you can buy one of my courses, download my free behavior board, or hire me for one-on-one coaching if you're interested. That's all above in the link. So let's get going with your parenting questions. Greece. Hi, Greece. Never got there. I'm sure I will one day. Okay, my grandson's 3, keeps hitting and biting at school. Yeah, that is, at 3 years old, I would suggest that course. If anyone's, wants to buy a course on parenting and you're interested in what I have to say, I've got a course, How to Get Respect in 5 Weeks. It goes through everything because it's not just about biting or hitting. It's about setting yourself up as a leader. You lead, they will follow. They just don't tend to do that once you're a leader. They just don't. So I never fix kids. I teach parents. Anyway, that course is... a lot of people are doing well on that. Okay. Hello. So I'm just waiting for your parenting questions. Yeah, I'm always, whenever I pause and go like this, it's always because it really is not about fixing kids. It's about setting yourself up as a leader. I never tried to fix kids. Whenever kids did something wrong, when I was working with kids, I worked with hundreds of them. Whenever they did something wrong, this is what I would do. I would go, what am I missing here? What am I doing wrong? Like, I always look to myself. I'm obviously not leading them effectively enough. So I always looked at myself. Always. Because you can only fix yourself anyway, right? You can't fix anyone else. You lead, they will follow. Oops. Haven't caught your lives for a while. Yeah, I'm on here every day. I think it pretty much every day. I never know what time. It just depends. Okay, 3-year-old keeps pushing my 1-year-old and being quite hands-on with him, upsetting him. Yeah, use my behavior board. It's free up there in my link, Bratbusters link tree. It's free up there, and the behavior board will show you how to discipline, and you put down no hurting other people on there. So that encompasses everything. It encompasses biting, pushing, hitting, kicking. So put no, and there's a consequence. We all learn through consequences. If there's no consequence, if you're just talking it through, that's ridiculous. No one's gonna. It's like if I thought that I could speed all I wanted and all I was ever going to get was a lecture, I'd keep speeding. It wouldn't mean anything to me. I wouldn't go crazy with it. I haven't got much of a car that can speed, but you know what I'm saying? Like, we all learn through consequences. Like, that you're accountable. That's how accountability is taught. It's taught through consequences. Three-year-old screams at me when I ask her to do something. Set yourself up as a leader. That would not happen. So if you want to learn how to be a leader, keep watching, or you can buy my course, or you can hire me. You can start with the behavior board, see how you go on that. That's sort of the first step in all this stuff. Do you let preteens beg? Please, Mom? I don't know what you mean. What are they begging? I don't know what you mean. What are they begging for? And begging wouldn't get very far with me. That just says to me, if you say no to something, please, that says to me that you're inconsistent. And yeah, what you don't mean what you say. That's all that says to me. 8-year-old super negative all the time, always giving out and blaming others. Any tips? Well, again, it's the same thing. They're negative because they don't have a fun leader at home. If you're a fun leader, negativity, like my mother would have said something like this. She goes, well, you got to learn how to make lemonade, kiddo. Like, she didn't like negativity. She didn't put up with it. And I kind of was like that too. So yeah. I can't give you advice on stepsisters because I don't know the situation. I need context. I can't possibly give you TikTok advice on that. You would have to hire me if you want that help, because it's more complex. Well, like if you say no more TV when she's begging, if you've said no more TV, why would she only begs because you don't mean it? So when you say no, that means it might be turned into a yes. That's what that says to me. Make sure your no means no. Yeah. So I'm just going to put this smoothie. I can't drink it. It's so awful. I'll drink it later on, but I got to go put it in the fridge. I'm really into health food, but that was even too foul for me. I will finish it later. I have to be really thirsty to drink that, and I'm not thirsty enough for that, I'll tell you. Okay. Yeah, advice on how much parents should share about their own personal mental health concerns with teen. Okay, you never want to scare them, but it's okay to share to a certain point, but you never want to scare them. Yeah, it's like when parents divorce. It's, they really don't care why you're breaking up. They really don't care that you don't like each other. They just want you to get along. So we tend to overshare with our kids. And I mean, I've been guilty of that. I'm sure everyone, most of us do, because they'll ask you questions and you got to sort of judge, how is it affecting them is the bottom line. You don't want to scare your kids. How to be the leader, I don't know how. Well, I have a course on that if you're interested, or you can hire me for coaching. So if you want me to teach you how to be a leader, but the course is really good. Actually, if you have a 3 to 12-year-old, the course is getting, if you're not having any huge crisis issues, like big stuff, the course, I'm amazed how similar the course results are to coaching, because coaching is the next level up. But yeah, the course is people are getting great results if you're interested in that. Oh, well, Sana, because I thought we should allow negotiation. You've already said no. Like, you haven't negotiated. You've already said no. You negotiate at the start. You don't say no, and then they say, what about this? That you say, hey, look, I'm thinking maybe that's enough TV. What do you think? That's how you negotiate. You don't say no, and then they argue with you. That's different. Yeah, because you've already said no. Is the course something the course, you're all on your own with that course right now. Yeah, you are. It was just getting out of control. I was doing it with you with group coaching, but my coaching like my one-on-one coaching. I just got super busy. So, but yeah, you're on your own. And, but it's 5 weeks. It's all paced out and you can get the whole course in one go now. I was pacing it out when I was doing group coaching with it. And, but now you get it all in one go, but do not rush through it. You can't rush it. You can drag it out by maybe a week or two, especially in the first couple of weeks. You can sort of elongate it. So you can turn it into a 7-week course if you want, but do not shorten it. Everyone wants to go to week 4. Do not go to week 4. Week 4 is where the good stuff happens, where you really want to go, but you have to learn how to get there. So it's paced out. I've been coaching this now for 17 years. I have paced it out according to what the best results are for parents. Okay. I have no idea what's wrong with me. My brain is so foggy yesterday and today. I don't know what is going on. Just literally fog brain, and I have no idea why. It's driving me nuts. I'm trying to concentrate here. I'm losing it. Okay. I'm not tired. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, it's getting old maybe. What if we have questions as we go through the course? What you do is you can add questions down there and I'll change the course accordingly. Like, I'm not here to answer every single question that parents have, because oftentimes they'll ask something about that has nothing to do, like it's sort of specialized. So, but if it's something I want to put in the course, I will answer it. Or if it's something about the course that needs clarity. But yeah, just ask. It has comments in the bottom and I'll get, sounded like an accident. I'll get to those questions. 3-year-old is having speech regression, trying to speak like her baby sister. It's just a stage. Yeah. Don't give it much attention. It'll go away. Boring mom stuff. Cute name. Okay. Possibly sinus brain fog. I deal with it. I don't even know what that means. I'll be honest. I'm just going to be transparent here. I went off my thyroid medication. I have a very low dose of it. And the doctor said, and I hate medication. I said, is there any chance I could get off of that? Because it's such a low dose. And that was about 3 weeks ago. I'm starting to wonder if maybe I need to go back on it. It's a very low dose. I'm hypothyroid. But I'm starting to think, because I have way less energy than I've had for the last 5 years that I've been on it. So I don't know if that's it. I have no idea, but I'm really struggling. Like, I'm really struggling today to think straight. I've never felt like this before. It's bizarre. Yeah, I'm just on such a low dose. The doctor was all on board with that. Anyway. Okay, 3-year-old, really sensitive. She cries if someone tells her off. She goes to the room. Well, what do you mean by tells her off? What does that mean? Are you scaring her? Yeah, when I'm disciplining, I'm very calm. That's why I talk about calm leadership all the time. It's when you're disciplining, you're calm. The rest of the time, I was crazy and fun. It was just goofy. So, or just normal, right? But if I'm disciplining, it's like I almost whisper. I go, didn't like that. I'll tell you what we're going to do. That's how I discipline. So they don't tend to run and hide when you talk like that. So I'm wondering, what do you mean by telling off? Maybe you're just scaring her. Oh, you did the same thing and noticed a huge difference. Oh, okay. Went right. He told me not to go on. He said to wait for the blood test in 3 weeks, but my daughter's getting married in a week. I don't want to be like this. So, oh, okay. How quick did you feel better when you went right back on? I think I'm going to have to. That must be it. What's going on in my brain? I literally am struggling to concentrate. Geez. Well, I'm going to write it down to take, because in case I forget, geez. I've never felt like this before. What causes anxiety in toddlers? So I don't really call it anxiety with toddlers because they're not developed enough really to get anxiety. They're just things that they do like and things that they don't like. But anxiety to me sounds like worrying. It's sort of their brain has to develop before they can really start worrying. Does that make sense? So yeah, I don't know if it's anxiety or they just, I don't know. What do you mean by anxiety with a toddler? Quickly. Oh, quickly. How quick is quick? If I took it now in 5 minutes, would I feel better? I'll tell you something. I have never felt like this in my whole life. I am struggling to concentrate. It must be that. It has to be. It's the only thing I've done different. Oh, within days. Oh, I gotta wait days. Oh gosh. I feel great in the morning. It's just the afternoon that gets me. Okay, so my 2-year-old is on the go all day and doesn't stop to listen. What would help? Okay, I do have a video. I just did that a couple days ago, and it's a really good video. I thought that one would pick up. The reason I say it's a good video is I think it's one of the most beneficial ones to you. So, but I don't know. I got to change the title. I'll do it again and make it sound better, I guess. I don't know what I did, but I'll just tell you the video. Just a sec. Sorry, just a sec. My computer's very slow because I'm also filming on YouTube. Yeah, sorry, just a second. Anyway, it's on toddlers. I think I just named it wrong. That's why it didn't pick up. I can never figure out what video is going to do well. Okay, so, shoot, God, this is slow. I'm just waiting for it. Okay, how to cope with toddlers. And I have 3 things that you can do to help your life be easier with toddlers. And the one is you completely childproof your home so you never have to say no. The second one is you do a toy rotation system. And the third one is when you're playing with them, you get in their world. You do not play with them by sitting at the park watching them play and going, very good, very good. You roll down the hill with them, you swing with them. The more you get into their world, into their toddler world or into their 7-year-old world, whatever, they just look at you differently. They just do. It's like they just are listening more. They just do. But toddlers are crazy. They don't make any sense. So. Okay. I always say toddlers are crazy, and that's true. Their behavior is nuts. I mean, they might stick their hands down their pants and smear poop on the wall. To us, that's crazy, right? It's just not so much that they're crazy. They just haven't formed sanity yet. They haven't got common sense yet. Their brains aren't developed yet. So it's not so much that they're crazy. They're just not sane yet. Everyone who hires me who has older kids and also has toddlers, they never ask anything about the toddlers. They understand. They're just toddlers. They don't make any sense. Don't try and make sense out of them. So there's nothing wrong with toddlers. It's just your interpretation of them, your assessment of them is off. Just say, okay, they're crazy. They're all feet, no brains, cute as a button, but all feet, no brains. And then just suffer through it. They're going to go through stage after stage after stage. 4 years has been the hardest for me. It usually gets easier by that age. So you might want to work on, setting yourself up as a leader. 3-year-olds, a lot of parents say, what happened? They were doing great and then they turned 3. If they get really difficult at 3, it means that they were just building up to that. It means that they just found their power because you didn't have it. So they found theirs. They took over. If mom fails, do kids chores as the consequence? That's a good one. Yeah, I like that one. That's on the behavior board. So you're on the behavior board too. So if you're new here, there's rules and consequences for everybody. So if you break the rule, the parent, then you have to do their chores. That's a really good one. I like that one. The behavior board's free in my brain fog. It's free in my link up above there. Yeah, I really got brain fog today. Never felt like this in my whole life. It's like I can't get a thought going. The only reason I can even answer your questions is I've just done it so many times. But if I'm trying to learn something new today, it's impossible. I can't do it. My brain is just not working. So yeah, I'll go back on those thyroid medication pills. Old lady stuff, that's okay. Oh, I guess young people can get thyroid stuff too, right? Okay. Now, whenever you talk about your kids not listening to you, that just says to me, you're not a leader. That's all. It's a tell. That's all that you're telling me is, oh, Lisa, I'm not a leader. That's exactly what you're telling me. They listen, you lead, they will follow. They just look to you. They just do. They just listen when you're a leader. It's just the way it is. So remember, we're never fixing kids. We're teaching parents here. So set yourself up as a leader and they will follow. If you go up in the link above, Bratbusters link tree, you can hire me for coaching, buy one of my courses, or download my free behavior board. It'll teach you how to do that. I don't know why I was looking at my spam earlier. The stuff that people write in spam, I wonder if anyone ever clicks on those things. It just amazes me sometimes. These things must work. It's like the phone calls when people call you with all this stuff. This stuff must work. These are all trolls and spammers. They must work or they wouldn't keep doing it. I always feel sorry for older people who aren't savvy on the internet. They probably get sucked into that stuff, but sometimes kids do too. Okay, well, how old is your kid? He'll just start screaming. Is he just a toddler? Toddlers are going to do stuff like that. If he's 8 years old, then you'd want to figure that out. So he's just screaming for no reason. How old? Said, I need to hire you. Well, you know where you are, where I am. Sorry, I've just got brain fog today. I'm up there in the link above if you want to hire me. Okay, wish you my mom. Too old to be anyone's mom now. I'm finished with all that stuff. I got grandkids coming now, so. It's the first time in my life I don't have any pets or kids depending on me. And my dog died last year, the last dog I've had. And I didn't replace him. Usually I have 2 dogs on the go. So I have a young one and an old one. So I'm never without one. But I just made the decision I'm going to try and go because I got grandkids coming along and I want to be able to go out and spend however time they need me. So, but anyway, that's very weird. It's very weird not having something to care for. Okay. I couldn't ignore any longer. Should I have kept ignoring? 3-year-old had a tantrum and I tried ignoring 35 minutes. Oh, it can go on for hours. Yeah, I ignore that. But you're still right there. They can be glomming onto you. You're still right there. You're just not looking at them. They know they can eventually pull you in. I think the longest I ever heard a tantrum going on, and it got ugly. This kid was older, like 5 or 6 or 7. I can't remember. It's years ago. And it went on for hours because this kid was used to being in charge. He was used to tantrums working. He was used to getting his own way. So, and I said, it's going to be hell, by the way. Sure enough, it was hell. It went on for 4 or 5 hours and the kid was throwing up. And I mean, it was just violent. But the only thing that would have helped is giving him what he wanted. And I said, at that age, any age, no, you can't do that. Too long for a tantrum. Or like I said, it can go on for hours. That kid he was industrial strength tantrums. Well, I need to know the age. Like when you give me a comment, sometimes I can tell, like if they're not potty trained, it's usually a toddler. But yeah, I need to know the age. Are they 16, 6 months? Like I can't answer general questions without knowing the age. Yeah, that's Nanny Callie 13. How old? Yeah, so anytime and plus if you can do the whole question again with the age, because otherwise I can't always go back. I get dizzy when I go back. 3.5. Now what was the question? Let me go back. I have 3.5. Oh, so you've already said the age. 3.5 twin boys, and I don't feel know how to raise anyone's getting hard. Okay, well, I've got a whole course teaching you how to give respect to get it. Goes into everything. 3 to 12-year-olds. It goes into pretty much everything that comes up in the normal world. If it's something really weird, then no, that would be coaching. And when I say weird, I mean something outside of the norm. And I won't go into all that, but I do a lot of crisis work too. So, but yeah, I have a whole course on that up above if you're interested. It'll just teach you in 5 weeks exactly what to do. Pace yourself out though. Do not rush through it. Pace yourself out because sometimes I know some people go right to that week 4. Everyone wants week 4. You can't. You got to do 1, 2, 3 first. You gotta. Okay, so Nanny Callie. Now, what was the question? She's 17. My daughter's so angry at me all the time. Anything I say or don't say makes her angry. It hurts. You got to work on your bonding with her. You got to work on your relationship. Yeah, that's something that that's coaching. You have to hire me for that because I don't know your relationship. I need history. I need to know your personality, her personality, and then I'll tell you how to move forward with it. It's usually 5 sessions. If you're interested, that's yeah, because she's 17, right? Actually, teenagers are my favorite age. That's how I built my business, was working with teen crisis work, or just teen stuff. I love teenagers. Hi, the child with the industrial strength tantrum. Did they improve after that time? Oh yeah, I don't think he ever had another one. He would start them, and the parents just went like that, and he just stopped because he'd gone on for so long. But they were doing other things too. Like, if you're just ignoring tantrums and you're still yelling and you're still doing other stuff, it's got to be done. The best results happen when you use everything as a package. Okay, that is the course. That is coaching. The behavior board's good. It's sort of the first step in all this. And lots of people are getting results just using the behavior board. That's completely free. But it's sort of a package. You got to know how to talk to kids. You got to know how to be consistent. You got to be accountable. Okay, so it's like a package. It's sort of like getting a recipe for a really healthy meal when you're on a diet, but then everything else is you're still eating potato chips. It has to be done as a whole package. It's got to be like a lifestyle. You're setting yourself up as a leader. You can't just do one thing, right? Like if you were to throw timeout into my method, I hate timeout, you would tank with probably everything else because I hate timeout. I think it's humiliating and mean. So yeah, it's a package. Does that make sense? Yeah, that's why I always say if you're following me, don't. Well, lovely to hear. Yeah, I hear it. Okay, a whole package. It just is. It's like if you're following me and you like some of the things I say and you go like this, yeah, I like that. I'll do that. Then you go and look at some other parenting. I hate to call myself an expert, but that's whatever. It just makes it easier. If you look at some other parenting expert and you go, yeah, I like that. I'm going to do that too. It's not going to work because you got to pick a path. Like it's like a diet. You don't go to different diet centers and pick and choose what you do and don't like. It doesn't work that way. I teach leadership. I teach how to give respect to get it. So if you were to throw in timeout, I think it's mean. I think it's very disrespectful. I hate it. So I would never do it. So you see, it wouldn't fit in with my package. It wouldn't fit in with the style. The closest relationship that compares to the way I teach parenting is a sports coach that the kids love. It's like that fun sports coach, but he also enforces the rules. There's rules to the game. Hey, look, you cheated. Sit on the bench for an inning. And the kids are embarrassed because they want to please that coach. They like him. They want to please him. And he's fun. He brings out the best in kids. Also, I think when you're a really good leader, it's not about how the kids feel towards you and what they think of you. It's what they think of themselves. My goal is to make kids feel good about themselves and like themselves when they're with me. I've got all the power then. Does that make sense? They want to please that person who makes them feel good about themselves. That is, I would say that's probably the most important message in everything I teach. My goal is always to make kids feel good about themselves. And when they do, and I'm the source of that, power, power. Don't abuse that. That's a really fragile thing to have. Very, very powerful thing to have, especially when I was mentoring troubled teens. Once I understood that that's the power I had, was they cared that much what I thought of them. You got to be careful with that. You know what I mean? Like it is just, that's what leadership's all about though. You got to respect the fact that they look up to you and you got to be careful with it. Okay. Timeout is not going to work psychologically in the line. Yeah, I don't know about that. I just hate it. Like I don't overanalyze that stuff. I do overanalyze the mini therapy sessions though. God, I hate those things. Drive me freaking insane. Every single day in coaching, it comes up. But I discussed it with him and he said, he's 2. What the heck are you talking to him for? He's looking at you like you're nuts. He's not listening. The mini therapy sessions are garbage. I know they're trendy right now. Everyone talks about, discuss their big feelings. It's just garbage. It's about actions. It's about consequences. It's about lessons. There's no lessons in the mini therapy sessions. None, nilch, zilch, squat. Oh, they just drive me freaking insane. I'm so guilty of the mini therapy sessions. Sorry about that. I know they're trendy. I get it because, they were invented years ago to make the mom feel good about herself, but it's not for the kids. It's for you because you feel like you're discussing all these big feelings, validating the child. And often the parents who do that still turn around and yell the next day. So it's like, it's sort of like it's guilt-ridden. It's for moms who feel guilty. They love doing that. It makes them feel good and loving, discussing all the big feelings, all the big emotions. And people who teach that are playing off you. They're playing off your guilt. And it drives me freaking insane. Just because I have to work with this every day. I have to erase that. I have to fix that. I have to mend it because it backfires down the road. What to do when toddlers asking over and over for your cell phone? Just ignore them. Say no and then put it away. If they ask over and over, that means you've trained them to do that. Because if I said no, my kids probably wouldn't have asked again because they would have known. When mom says, although with their dad, they probably would have kept asking. When I said no, I'd say no, and then I'd put it away, and that would be it. They probably wouldn't have asked again from a really young age with me. With dad, they might have asked again. He was more the pleaser, but I was the leader. They only need one leader. Yeah. What if the kids ask why was what they did bad? They don't care. It's just, they already know. So you mean if they hit someone they don't know, don't underestimate them. Don't treat them like an idiot. They know when they're bad. It's very rare that they don't know when they're bad. You have to give me an example of when you think they might not understand. You have to give me an example of that. I'll look for that. Sana. I'll look for that. What's an example of them might not understanding what they did was bad? Toddler sibling sharing. Can't teach 2-year-olds how to share. Sorry about that. I've never figured out how to do it. What if you're asking just to see maybe where their head was at that time? Well, I don't know what you're talking about. You can't figure that out? What their head is usually here. I want what I want, when I want, and how I want it. That's usually where their head is at, right? Yeah. You know what your kids are thinking. Actually, maybe not. That's not always true. Oftentimes I'll say to my clients when I'm doing the one-on-one coaching, I'll say, look, I want to be a fly on the wall. I want you to put me, the next time we get a session, just at the very start of it, I want to see what happens at dinner. Because they'll say dinner is just a disaster because so-and-so is doing that and they're doing that and it doesn't add up. I said, it doesn't make any sense to me. So I'll be a fly on the wall. The kids don't know I'm watching and I'm just sitting there during our session. I'm just quietly watching. And often the parents have completely misinterpreted what's happening because I'll watch and I'll just interrupt. After 2 minutes, I'll say, stop, okay, and say, here's what's really happening. So yeah, maybe you don't always see what's going on, but especially when they're interacting with each other. But if you've said no to them and then they need to understand, yeah. Okay. And by the way, you can talk to them all you want about feelings when everything's good. It's when they're naughty and you've said no to something, that's the mini therapy sessions I hate. Those are the ones, because it's just a complete waste of time. There's no lesson in that whatsoever. None. But any other time you can discuss feelings. But if you're a good leader, their feelings are so regulated. They feel so taken care of. They feel so safe. They don't tend to be emotional. They tend to be really calm because they've got a leader. That is the best thing you can do. Set yourself up as a leader for your children. It makes them feel safe. And yeah, they tend to be more regulated. And also they become self-disciplining. Oh my God, can I just hire to teach to get through dinner with my 3-year-old? That might just be one session. If that's the only thing you're dealing with, yeah, that might just be one session. How do I work past laziness with my 2-year-old? She cries over things that are inches away from her. I don't know what you mean by that. Well, why do you get it? Why would you get it for her? Is that what you do? Well, she's training you very, very well. There's no way I would give that to them. They can reach it. Have you ever been unsuccessful with a teen in your work? Oh, 100%, lots and lots and lots of times. If there's, it's usually, there's lots of reasons for that, but oftentimes, what can I talk about on TikTok here? It's often addiction issues. I don't deal with that. All I deal with is parent-child relationships. It's when the parents just can't do what I ask them to do. And I'm very direct about that. And I've even offered refunds to parents and they just can't. I said, you're not ready. And because they're in so much pain with their teenager, like it's just a disaster what's happening. And I say, I need you to do this. And they say, I can't do that. Like it's usually apologizing to their teenager for not being a good enough parent. They say, I can't do it. And I say, you have to. You got to break down the defenses, take full responsibility and blame for what's going on. And they can't always do that. And I have to respect that. They're so damaged by what's been going on with their teenager. Sometimes they're just not ready to hear what I have to tell them. And it's a lot of work. But when it's life and death, they'll usually do anything. So it's more the ones that aren't life and death crisis stuff that I struggle with more because they're not ready to do anything I say. You got to take the blame for everything that's going on. You just have to. How else can you move forward? At the very least, I hope when I'm working with parents of teenagers, at the very least, if I can't get them the results they want, it is hard work. It is very hard work. If I can't get them that, they get clarity on what they need to do to move forward. So, and I just have to explain. I don't even sometimes tell them what to do. I'll just say, I just want you to understand what's going on here. And I'll explain exactly what their teenagers, because I can figure teens out. I say, this is what's happening. This is why it happened. What's going on. When you're ready to move forward, connect with me later or whatever. And sometimes they'll come back within 6 months or a year, whatever. But yeah, it's usually the parents aren't ready. It's very painful. If you're going through hell with your teenager, it's very painful. So yeah, it's agony for me too when I see parents that are just broken. It's awful. Anyway, what can you do in early years to make for an easier teenager? That's all I'm doing here. All I'm doing, because I specialize in teenagers, so that's how I started my business. I'm working backwards. I know how to get you there. I sailed right through it with my kids. I know how to get you there. I mentored troubled teens. I understand teenagers. I know how to get you there. So it's easy. That's the whole purpose in everything I do, is to get you into those teen years. Everything I'm telling you, because I know, don't take advice from someone who hasn't finished the job and raised teenagers. What do they know? It's the teenage stuff. That's what you're aiming for, right? That's it. Never take advice from someone who hasn't finished the job with their own kids and hasn't had experience with hundreds of other kids with every single challenge you can think of, because it's heavily experience-based. If they haven't lived with teenagers, they can't talk about parenting. How do they know what they're doing today is going to work is going to lead to an easier 9-year-old or an easier 19-year-old? How do they know? How can they possibly give advice on parenting? It's like taking financial advice from someone with $10 in the bank. Would you? I wouldn't. They got to have millions in the bank before I'll take their financial advice. It's like that with parenting. And, a lot of people just have really easy kids, so they think they know everything. I didn't learn a lot with my own kids. They were pretty easy. It was all the other kids that I learned all this with. The ones who were struggling and were, whatever. So yeah. I actually have had friends in the past and they say, oh no, parenting's so easy. And I know it's just because they've got a really easy kid who never has a tantrum, just super laid back, easy little toddler. Then they'll have a little Tasmanian terror. They're just thrown for a loop. So sometimes people think they're really good at something just because they've got really easy kids, right? So yeah. Give yourself some credit. Maybe they were easy because you're great. My son could have been more challenging for sure. He could have been more challenging. He was one more to want to rebel. He wanted to rebel, but he just couldn't do it. I'll tell you something funny. He was 15 and he said to me, and we were really close, and he said to me, you've been a really difficult mom. And he was upset when he said that. And I said, what? I thought it was great. I said, what? And he says, yeah, he says, I've got nothing to rebel against. You're too reasonable and easy to talk to. That was a problem. And so I said, fine, go clean your room. And he never did. Rebellion taken care of. He kind of needed to rebel, but because I was too reasonable and easy to talk to, he didn't. Does that make sense? Parenting is not that easy. So I kind of thought it was. But I got all that leadership cemented when they were little, so I sailed right through the teen years. So yeah, it can be. Absolutely, it can be easy. I don't like to talk a lot about that but I put the work in. I did the legroom, and I volunteered for thousands of hours with kids. So I earned that. I worked for that respect. I learned a lot about kids. I learned a lot about myself. I put a lot into this. And I guess that's why I'm teaching it, because it was my passion was to be a mother. I loved it. It was the most fun I ever had in my whole life. So overall, I would say parenting was a walk in the park. Overall, yes, I would. It was fun. It was funny. We laughed all the time. It was great. I loved it. Okay, so it doesn't always have to be hard. I set myself up as a leader when they were tiny, and they were self-disciplining after that. So, but most people on here haven't done that. A lot of them have older kids, and they haven't done. But anyone can learn this. But you got to be in touch with yourself too. You got to be accountable. If I messed up with my kids, and I did something I shouldn't have done, this was what they did every single time. They'd look at each other. Because they knew I was going to make it up to them. They'd go, Mom, I know I messed up. What do you want? And they go, we'd love to go to the water slide park after school. And I go, oh, fine. So I was accountable. It's give and take. It's not just all expect them to do what you say. You don't want obedient little soldiers. You want to raise independent, confident kids, teenagers, young adults who have a voice, who know who they are. And they look up to you. But it's mutual. If you're not learning from your kids, you're missing out big time. They're going to teach you more about life than anyone else will. But you got to listen to them. Okay. Tips on being a strong leader. With teenagers, for sure, listening to understand and show empathy. You do not listen to gather information to lecture with. You listen to understand and show empathy, and then stop talking. Like that. If they want, they already know what you're going to say anyway. If they want your advice, they're going to ask for it. When you get good at this listening to understand and show empathy, they're going to tell you everything. Like I did with my mom and my kids did with me. Okay, listening is just number one for sure. Because they need to have a voice. They need to feel heard. They need to feel respected. Okay, and also if they said something and I'd say, well, I wouldn't do that, but you know what? That's a good idea. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I like that. I wish I'd done that. I wish I'd thought of that. So you see, they got great ideas. You got to leave it open for that. Okay. Also, number 2 with teenagers is everything's negotiable with teenagers. Pretty much everything. And I don't mean all the big stuff. I'm talking about chores. Well, I don't really want to do that, Mom. I hate it. Okay, well, what do you want to do instead? What do you want? Everything's negotiable. So you negotiate you got to give them a say in how their life goes. Also, another one, millions of tips with teenagers. Don't sweat the small stuff, just the big stuff. Save your energy for the big stuff. They're going to make mistakes. And when they do, this is what I would have said. If my kids had done anything stupid or whatever, like they didn't get in trouble or anything, but if they did, this is like when I was working with kids, I used to say, well, that was stupid. Wait till you hear what I did when I was your age. Like, it's okay to make mistakes. Don't beat them down for making mistakes. We tend to expect more from our kids than we do from ourselves, which is ridiculous when you think about it. Okay. Your message has changed since you started. I'm seeing growth. That's incredibly brave, amazing. My message has changed. I'm just getting more open about it on here. In coaching, I would say if you hired me probably 10 years ago, it'd probably be the same. But yeah, I think I'm just getting more letting it fly online because I think I was trying to play it safer when you first, like on TikTok, I didn't understand TikTok, and I thought, are they really ready for what I've got to say? You know, I've tried to ease everyone into it. Now I'm just letting it fly. Okay. Appropriate consequences for my 6-year-old hitting my 4-year-old. Usually it's something like this. The 4-year-old gets to play with the 6-year-old's favorite toy for a whole half an hour or an hour. Okay. Something like they have, and it's something that 6-year-old would not want the 4-year-old to play with. Something like that. You're mean to them, now you're going to be nice to them. They get to play with your favorite toy. God, they usually hate that. That's one of the most quick and efficient and effective consequences that my clients tell me. They say, gee, that one works. But it's got to be, you know, sometimes if the kids are really little, the little one will want to play with the older one. I say you can't allow that. You can't allow them to share. But so it just depends. It doesn't work with every single family, but it's one of my favorite consequences because it tends to have a really high success rate. I need you to move in with us for a week, super nanny style. Yeah, I've been offered a huge amount of money to move in with people, like huge, life-changing. But yeah, it's not what I do. Because imagine what would happen when I leave. Okay. I noticed a lot of isolation punishment before, and you were choosing connection more now. I always did. I just didn't talk about it a lot. I didn't know it was necessary to talk about it. I just assumed everyone know I'm very demonstrative. I'm all over my kids. Whenever I'm working with kids, I'm all over them. I'm a very demonstrative. I love kids. I'm all over them. And that's why it works. I just don't talk about that a lot because I figure you already love your kids, so you are already all over them. But yeah, connection is the most important part. It is. Connection, as long as the connection's a good one. It can be a toxic connection with you, especially with teenagers. Like a toxic connection with teenagers would be a parent who's trying to be cool. I'll give you an example of this. I won't say who it was because I've said it before and I think they might possibly see this. So someone that I knew of, saw it on Facebook, was at the movies with her daughter with a bottle of wine at the movies. The daughter was 15. That's a connection. It's a very toxic connection. That's not mothering. That is not mothering. That is, be my friend, I'm cool. It was ridiculous. I was so disgusted by that. I never said anything. None of my business. But anyway. Is it normal for my 14-month-old to not talk much? Sometimes they don't talk till they're 3. I would say I was definitely friends with my kids. I was extremely goofy. But if my kids ever did anything naughty or the least bit disrespectful, I was mom like that. I would say that if they ever did anything I didn't like, I would say, didn't like that. What do you think we should do? Oh, sorry, mom. That's how quick it was, that easy. I have no memory of ever telling my kids to go to bed or do homework. I literally have no memory of that. They just were self-disciplining. They knew, hey, it's around bedtime. Sometimes if there was a good show on, I'd say, hey, do you want to stay up late tonight? Like our rules were very flexible because there was so much mutual respect going on. And they knew if I said no, they never would have said, but why? If they did, I would have said, are you kidding me? Like I said, no. I say no, I mean no. So I rarely ever had to say it because they wouldn't ask for something if they knew the answer was going to be no. So, oh gosh, here we go. This is the mini therapy session talk. Can I say I'm sad because you did that? No. Why? What's the point? What's the point? If a cop pulled you over and said I'm sad because you sped, would that have any results at all? At all? No, I wouldn't. So a shame-based reaction. What are you talking about? Okay. He throws a tantrum and keeps repeating that he wants that toy. So that's on him. I always say tantrums are not bad behavior. They're just a reaction to not getting what they want, when they want, and how they wanted it. And as soon as you give that any attention, you're feeding it, you're validating it, you're condoning it. So that's why it's so important to ignore a tantrum. And then as soon as I always ignore crazy, because tantrums are just crazy. I always ignore crazy, and then I reward calm. So as soon as they calm down, you say, oh, you all done? Do you want to go to the park? Want to read a book? So they learn, oh, wait a minute, the calm gets me attention, and I'm modeling calm behavior. I'm just standing there filing my nails, waiting. I'm just waiting for the crazy to be over. And then as soon as it is, oh, you all done? You want to read a book? You see, it's just that they just learn, oh, wait a minute. They learn what gets them what they, like the reaction that they want. They just do. Any attention is tantrum food. You're feeding it. How can I change his mindset? You're talking about a 2-year-old. You don't. They're crazy. They're not formed yet. They're forming. So they're just crazy. Don't try and figure them out. You cannot change a child's mindset. Especially a toddler. You just can't. It's impossible. So you're trying to reason it out. You don't reason with toddlers. Look up my video. My last video I did was on how to cope with toddlers or something like that. I really liked that video. It wasn't a big one. It only got like 5,000 views. I thought that was a killer. I'm going to have to reword it because the message is so good. It's how to cope with toddlers. There's nothing wrong with toddlers. It's your assessment of them that's out of whack. They're just crazy. They're just forming. They're going to go through stage after stage after stage. Just stay calm. You can play with them as much as you want, but as soon as they start acting up, then just get real quiet and calm. They learn. They want the fun parent. But when they act out, they get the quiet, boring parent that ignores them. They learn that really, really quickly. This Huckleberry's making some comments here about childhood trauma and that. A lot of my parents that are stuck, if they're stuck and they're just not following through with my advice, I'll say, how were you parented? They often burst out crying because I can usually tell when there's a block. And because we'll go through stuff. I've got one client right now. I keep telling her she's like a dream client. She just gets her own. She's so self-aware. That's what it is. She's so self-aware. And I keep telling her, you're just a dream client because she's done so much work on herself already that by the time she came to me, she's like, yeah, that's my weakness. Yeah, I get that. She's just so self-aware. And I'm actually very self-aware. It's because you have to be really humble to do that, to look at yourself, look within. What's stopping me? What have I not worked through? And a lot of people carry their own childhood baggage into their own kids' lives. So they keep, the generation after generation, they keep the kid, you're punishing your kids for how you were raised. So just say, you know what? My parents did the best they knew how. And not one parent is ever handed a child in the hospital and says, I'm going to mess you up. They do the best they know how. Not necessarily the best they can. They can do better, but they don't know, right? They do the best they know how. So, yeah. But you can't pass that on to your kids. Just say, you know what? They did the best they knew how. I'm going to do better. That comes up a lot in coaching, a lot, because I can usually tell. I'll say, that's not adding up here, that you're not doing that. I say, well, how are you parented? And they instantly get, oh, that was pretty messed up, this and that. And I say, okay. child throws tantrum in public. I'm the same mom no matter where we are. So my kids were exactly the same at home than they were when we were out. So yeah, my mothering was consistent. So, and I'm proud of how I parent. I wanted people to see how I handled my son's tantrums. I was proud of it. So yeah, I was just exactly the same. If you're different when you go out, they've got you by the knackers because they know it. They know you're afraid of them when you're out. They know you're embarrassed. Whereas I was proud. I was like, come on, people, come around, watch and learn. That was kind of my attitude. I'll tell you my son's second to last tantrum. I tell this story all the time. It was in a mall and he was 3 years old and he decided to have a tantrum over who knows what. We weren't even doing anything. I don't know why, but it was a loud, busy mall. So it's the only reason I let it go on in the mall. Usually I'll take him somewhere quieter. Like I would never allow this in a restaurant where you're disturbing diners or whatever. Anyway, he throws himself in the ground, starts having a tantrum. And they either have them or they don't. My son did, my daughter didn't. They're born that way. So anyway, he starts having a tantrum. So I pulled him over to the side, away from the staircase and out of everyone's way. And then I just stood there filing my nails, completely ignoring him. And all these young moms were walking past. Oh, you should give him a hug, talk about his feelings. I'm like, good, keep going, keep going. But all these more experienced moms and grandmothers kept coming over and saying, good on you, you know what you're doing. And then it didn't last that long. He finished having a tantrum. I said, oh, you all done? Okay, let's get going. I don't discuss tantrums before, during, or after. What is the point? If you can come up with one, a good one, let me know. But I've never, ever been dealing with kids for 51 years. I have never, ever discussed a tantrum. So you see, they learn. You reward the calm, not the crazy. I'm standing there modeling calm behavior. This is what I want from you. I'm calm. As soon as you're done, then we'll just head out. Okay, kid is an angel at school and in public, but not really at home. Yeah, well, how old? To help them recognize what they were feeling in the moment? What? They don't think it happens organically. You don't need to discuss this. Many therapy sessions are a waste of time. Is that what you're talking about? The mini therapy sessions discussing all that stuff? There's no need. It happens organically. They happen more, they learn more by doing and watching and learning. It's not the talking that does it. It just doesn't. Plus, when they're not getting it, like I've seen this all the time, when other parents are trying to, help them on your feelings and talk and that it just gets worse and worse and worse. And yeah. How do they learn to calm their body if it's not modeled to them? I just said I am modeling calm behavior. I'm standing there filing my nails. How much more calm could you get? I'm modeling calm behavior for them. They're watching. They're not listening to you. They're watching you. So he's thinking, well, this ain't working. And he only had, I think, one more tantrum after that. He was 3. And he had I think one more tantrum. And he had more with his dad. But then his dad learned. I said to him, because his dad was the pleaser, I was definitely the leader. And his dad said, what should I do? He's definitely not the same with me. And I said, just say, do you want me to tell mom? By the time they reach a certain age, they can understand that. And all he had to say was, do you want me to tell mom? And it instantly was good. So, yeah. And I never even did anything. I was just the leader. And it never happened. Like, he never even had to tell me. Yeah, you're overthinking all this trend that's on right now, discussing all the big feelings. Most of these pleaser parent style parents still yell, still are inconsistent, but they're having therapy sessions. It's almost like if I do that, all the other mistakes disappear. That's exactly what I see all the time. So yeah, it's just this, it's all for the parent. It's not for the children. It's feeding you, not your child. It's not nurturing them. It's nurturing you, your guilt. It's playing off your guilt is all it's doing. Yeah, you got to go somewhere else, Huckleberry. I'm not for you. Just go somewhere else. Okay. I can feel a whole lecture coming on here, and you're going to be surprised by why. How can I identify my kid's talent? I'll tell you something. Do you know what I focus on when I was mentoring troubled teens or kids who were in trouble and damaged, abused, whatever? When I was mentoring them, do you think I focused on their talent? They often had them, but do you know what I focused on? Was what made them proud, what made them feel good. It's not always what they're good at. I look for what makes them feel good about themselves. So often it was not what they were good at. So yeah, I look for what brings out that pride, what brings out their self-esteem, what's increasing their self-esteem, what makes them like themselves. It's not always their talent. A good example of this is I work with a lot of my clients are highly successful, accomplished people, and they want their kids to be the same. So what they'll do is they say, oh, he's really good at the piano. And the kid keeps telling them, I hate the piano, I hate it. And the parents push it on him and push him on. Oh, when he recital and he has to play the piano every time all the family's around, but it's bringing the child no joy whatsoever. I focus on what brings the child joy because I want them to be happy, right? So talent doesn't always lead to what makes them happy. I got a lot of stories around that one, like kids who were just pushed into stuff and just hated it. And then they'd say to me, do you know what I really like doing? I love drawing. And they say, but I'm not great at it, and no one cares about it. And I say, well, I do. Show me what you're drawing. And then it just brings out a whole different side to that kid. That's what you want to look for. What brings them joy? What makes them proud of themselves? That's what you want to focus on. Okay, I got to get going. It's been an hour now. Yeah, this is beautiful. Nothing makes me more happy than seeing my peanut laugh. My goal was always, I wanted my kids to feel great about themselves. They knew they were treasured. We had a very fun relationship, fun household. They felt great about themselves. That's your goal. You want your children to feel great about themselves. If they're acting out and being rude to you, they feel like crap. So set yourself up as a leader, and it just leads to high self-esteem, great relationship with your kids, great connection right through the teen years. Anyway, I got to go. Okay, thanks so much for joining me, and I'll be back again tomorrow. Bye now.